Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about the Claus Family. Well, it's that time of year again where we get a ton of holiday movies thrown at us before December even shows up. Netflix plans to release at least 7 that I know about this month alone, so unless a Christmas movie is genuinely good, I'm going to be reducing the amount of time I spend talking about them. Rest assured though, other reviews will remain the same length as usual. Anyway, let's get back to the review at hand. The Claus Family is a Dutch family movie that tells the story of a family moving to Belgium so that their single mother can start their life over with her new job following the death of her husband, as well as be closer to the kid's grandfather. Problem is, the son Jules has not gotten over his father's death. And this grief manifests into anger for the Christmas holidays at large as Jules claims that he hates Christmas. Things take a turn, however, when it's revealed that the grandfather is none other than Santa Claus himself and needs Jules' help to deliver presents to children around the world. So the story plays out pretty much like a kid version of A Christmas Carol, in that Jules has to overcome unfortunate events from the past and rediscover the magic of Christmas once again. The idea is interesting, but the execution doesn't exactly pay off. Jules' performance was fine, but as a character, his personality was all over the place. He keeps switching back and forth between being entranced with Christmas on account of his grandfather and then throwing a fit at the most random of times. It was difficult to determine what trajectory his character arc was going to take him. He has these flashbacks that harken back to when his father was tragically killed in a car accident. These are good to an extent in that they provide further context to Jules' emotions, but they don't tell us anything we don't already know. As a result, I find it hard to come up with anything notable to say about Jules. His grandfather, Noel Claus, was much more enjoyable by comparison. I like that they made his character mortal despite the fact that he uses magic to travel across the world to give out presents. It adds more depth to the tradition aspect of Christmas beyond just the act of gift giving. Not only that, but he was always fun to see interacting with anybody on screen. In spite of his age, he maintains a youth-like vigor and obsession for the joy of Christmas, and the words of wisdom he imparts on characters throughout the story will leave your heart feeling warm and fuzzy. The rest of the characters aren't anything special. It's a kid's movie, so I can't pick on it too much, although I do think it's weird how Jules' mother moved all the way, presumably from the Netherlands, to go to Belgium, all for a simple cookie baking job. This is where I'd normally go in depth about the things that I like and dislike about this movie, but as I mentioned earlier, Netflix plans to release a lot of Christmas movies this year. November in general is just stacked. I also found that this movie was released a year ago, so most people have likely already said what they've needed to say about it, so for now I'll keep things brief. I like how festive the movie was in general. I've never seen what Christmas looks like from a European perspective, and if it's anything like what I saw in this movie, then I'm pretty envious of what they've got going on over there compared to what we have here in Canada. I love seeing characters walk down the streets with heaps of snow falling from the sky, with imaginative set designs and everyone wearing thick, colorful clothes for the weather. The movie is covered with Christmas scenery from top to bottom, and it was an absolute feast for the eyes. The soundtrack is fantastic as well. Carolers routinely line the sidewalks to sing to passerby, and the film's score itself resonates on an emotional level too, with plenty of choir and orchestral performances to go around. As far as aesthetics are concerned, this movie nails it. As a family-oriented movie, it has its fair share of humor in it as well. Much of it has to do with certain antics that occur as Jules and his grandfather travel the world, although a lot of it comes from Santa's elves as well, of which there were surprisingly few in number. Each of the elves have their own unique personality traits. Most of their humor isn't really the kind that I like, as a lot of it is slapstick in nature, but I can see kids enjoying it. I will say though that Holgar the Grump is easily my favorite of the bunch. All he wants to do is write gift lists in peace, but his fellow elves keep interrupting him constantly. The Cookie Factory tended to be a source of comedy as well, which was a bit of a mixed bag for me. Jules' mother schemes to sell her own brand of cookies while working there, while doing so under the watchful eye of her boss. I enjoyed seeing her build an alliance with her co-workers Yet and Farid and planning out her cookie revolution, but I can't say the characters were all that unique. She's never in the movie long enough to make an impression on the audience because she disappears on and off all the time throughout the story. A lot of the life lessons Jules gains in this movie mostly comes from his babysitter of all people, which I found to be really weird considering the character is not much older than Jules to begin with, and she only appears in a few scenes in the whole movie. And the life lesson Jules is supposed to gain from helping his grandfather deliver presents is that he shouldn't hold on to anger, as nothing productive will come from it, and that it's better to spread joy to others instead. It's a good lesson to promote, but unfortunately, and like I said earlier, he never built builds properly toward learning that. He goes back and forth constantly between two extremes, between being joyful and being hateful, with no gray area in between. There is some potential to be found with his family interactions, but it's never taken full advantage of. Overall, The Claus Family is an average Christmas movie that doesn't bring anything new to the table, but it's still a decent family experience nonetheless. If you enjoy Christmas movies and you're looking for one that's fun for the whole family, filled with unique set pieces, and you don't mind watching in subtitles, I think this movie would be right up your alley. I ended up having a lot more to say about this movie than I thought I was going to, but in the end, it wasn't anything all that remarkable. It was fun in parts, and it got me excited for Christmas even now in November, but its problematic protagonist and iffy comedy puts its quality in the middle of the road for me. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of The Claus Family. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the American Western, The Harder They Fall. Bye bye!